Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, unboxing time is here. Hello everybody, thank you for joining me today. I do truly appreciate it. And I've got a book in the mailbox, one that I've had my eye on for quite a while. I just never actually pulled the trigger. And finally I found the book that I wanted, this edition of this book that I wanted, at a price that I couldn't refuse, which is lower than it's actually worth usually for me. And it's in. And the doctor is in, the book is in. And I'd like to open it up right now and take a good look at it. You can tell, perhaps, from where it came. So this was an eBay purchase. Some of you may or may not love the eBay. And you can choose however you want to choose, it's fine with me. But I'll tell you this. Were not for eBay, a lot of the books in my collection I would not have. We can't always go up front and buy a book at published price, or sometimes buying it up front at published price, you pay a lot of money for it, and then later on, it's not worth nearly as much. So some of these books I bought a lot cheaper on eBay, and then some of these books I bought a lot higher on eBay because now they're sold out, people are wanting them, the price goes up. So it's a market, it's what it is. And this one came from eBay, and I was glad to be able to find it at the price that I got it for. So let me open this up and see. One of the negatives, side effects, things that upset people sometimes about eBay is the condition in which they arrive, all that stuff. And that can be a bit of a risk. And as you can see, this seller sold me this book, boxed it up. Let's see what it looks like inside. And inside they put some cushion, some of these white cheese puffs. They don't taste very good, but I guess they do a good job of helping to give a little cushion to our precious collectible objects, our objects that we buy. So I think I've done a good job of not dropping any. I don't like to clean out messes. But here's my book all wrapped in tissue paper. And if you're anything like me, you might be wondering, well, what book did the guy buy? And I would have already told you that, but quite frankly, as I'm opening it, it is, honestly, I was opening this box and trying to think, what's the name of this book? That's an admission. Take it easy on me, please. But this book is called Death is a Lonely Business by Ray Bradbury. One of my favorite authors. Really liked a lot of stuff from Ray Bradbury. And as you can see, if you were watching very closely, this is a signed edition. This is a signed edition from the Franklin Library, Franklin Press. They called them, I got several different ones. Franklin Mystery from Franklin. This is a limited first edition of Death is a Lonely Business. It has been privately printed and personally signed by Ray Bradbury, exclusive for members of the signed first edition society. So it says. So I was never a part of that society, although I bought a lot of books that were signed limited editions. And so here they say, first edition, Franklin Library. And just a little bit about the book. The most important thing to note is the signature. So I did show you, or I think I showed you, the page where they say this book was signed. And there is Ray Bradbury's signature there. And while we're here, you might as well take a look at it. Our in papers, that marbling looks so cool. But Death is a Lonely Business is a book that I haven't written. By an author that I've really liked, really loved. I haven't read all of his stuff. There's a lot of his stuff I need to read. But I've read some very important books by Ray Bradbury. He's been a very influential author. And so I'm a fan and a collector. But Death is a Lonely Business, this one by the Franklin Library, is a leather-bound book with gold stamping or gold stamping on it, on the spine, on the boards. Gold gilded page edges, a built-in ribbon page marker. You can see there the the end bands and the Smithsonian bindings. So they made quality stuff. Franklin Library, much like Easton Press, they still make books, but Franklin does not. And I've grown very fond of what Franklin did. Just holding their books in hand, just hold it. This is a leather-bound book, and it feels like quality. It feels truly like quality. And I've also found that I feel like Easton Press's books used to feel a little bit better in hand as far as quality and stuff than they do now. But I still dig them. I still get Easton Press when they come out with one from an author that I want and stuff like that. I'm still a customer occasionally. But this is a signed limited edition book. There is at least one illustration. I just saw it right here somewhere. Flipping through these pages, I found an illustration. And Death is a Lonely Business. Like I said, I have not read it, but it is, from what I understand, Ray Bradbury's venture out into the crime detective genre. One that I'm a big fan of. One that I really, really enjoy. Now, it wasn't extremely well received compared to some of his more popular books, but there's a lot of people out there that say they're good stories, and some people kind of badmouth them too. But I love the genre, and I'm a fan of the author. This is a beautiful edition. Just flipping through to see if there's any more illustrations. You can see those creamy page colors. You can see the text there. Franklin Library made beautiful stuff. And I've got several of their books. I've got several signed editions of their books, some important ones from them. So I'm a fan, and this was a great opportunity to get a book from a great author, one that I love, from a great publisher that made beautiful stuff. And it's a genre. It's Ray Bradbury's venture into a genre that I am a big fan of. So for me, it's a win-win-win publication. And then flipping through, that one illustration was the only one I could find. But this one it's going to go in the Bradbury collection. Sometimes it's hard to choose. I've got an Easton Press shelf with some Franklin Library signed and unsigned editions on it too, because they look so similar on the shelf. Things like the hubbed spine. You can see some of those features. The hubbed spine, the leather bound, the gold gilt. So much of it looks so similar. One might think it was the same thing. So I end up shelving most of them on a shelf together. Occasionally, one will be with an author that I collect, and I'll tend to move it into that author's collection. But that shelf, and I'll show you a picture of it here in a second, that shelf is one that my wife will look at it and say, I wish your whole library looked like that. Because it's a classic styling. This is how books, fancy books by rich people or whatever, wealthy to-do people, they often had libraries full of books that look just like this. And I'm not interested in buying stacks and stacks of books that look just like this, unless they're books that I want to have, that I love, that I have read and loved, or that I want to read by authors that I love. I'm not just going to go buy a bunch of books that look like this. So I've got a shelf plus 10 or 15 books maybe scattered in different parts of my collection by different authors and stuff like that. But anyway, for me, this is what I'm excited to add, looking forward to reading. And with that being said, I can think of no more lies to tell. So thank you for your time. I do truly appreciate it, and say la vie, baby. Doo-doo.